How's everybody doing today? It's Jim, and today I'm going to be looking at another scooter, which is the GT 2020 from E-TWOW. Wait a second, that's E2. Like, you always screw that up. I want it to be E-TWOW. It's E2. Behind me is the GT 2020, which has the 2020 moniker because they did some updates to it. The updates are mostly related to the battery and adding a rear mechanical drum brake. Just a look right here, so it does have a 48 volt 10.5 amp hour battery, so 504 watt hours of Samsung cells down here in the deck, which gives what E-TWOW says, I keep saying it, E2 says would give you 30 miles of range. I'll talk about my range test, and we're going to do another range test today. So just looking here, you get your front motor, 700 watt motor up here in front. Front motor gives you a little bit better traction in my mind in some surfaces, and you're going to hear as we're riding that it's very, very solid, very quiet. So 8-inch tires, front and rear, 200 millimeters. I think that actually meant transmit to 8.5 inch, but quite narrow, solid tires. They do transmit some vibration. Got a shock in the front, shock in the rear under here that's adjustable. And you can see there's some beefiness of the connector here. It's really protected with some zip ties. And you also got cable minding in a couple spots, which I like. And the quality of everything feels really good. This is the matte, this is the gray color. It also comes in matte black and some other colors. So I'm going to show you how this unfolds. It catches into the fender, so you push the fender down to release it. And from there, it's a very simple process. You can see we got a kickstand there, works really nicely. A new latch on this one where it kind of has a second position and allows you to hit your feet on here a little bit better. And the charging port here that accepts the 3 amp charger, so you get a little quicker recharge time. I got under 4 hours recharge from pretty much exhausted battery on my range tests. Really good quality, metal construction, rubber deck, everything feels really solid. And I'm just going to show you the underside real quick. Lean it over. You can see the suspension of the rear with the bolt that you can adjust. This is the drum brake system in the rear. You probably see the handlebar up there has a couple preset positions. The highest position is 39.5 inches, a little bit lower than some scooters, and actually does feel kind of on the low side. Without no further ado, we're going to get on the path to start riding. So just a quick look here. We got braking gas. Thumb button releases the grips that fold down nicely. You got your mechanical brake up here. Basic functionality of mode and what have you on the screen. Basically you just get trip odometer, which I'm going to reset right now, and current lifetime odometer, so I'm pushing 70 miles. Color display with a percentage indicator. As we show, it doesn't bump down in very small gradations, and this is really hard to see at under light like it is right now. The GT 2020 in the hidden menus, really the only functionality you have is turning zero start or kickstart on and off. They disabled the cruise control function on the 2020 GT. I kind of feel that was a bit of an oversight. All right, I'm going to do this little bit of grass just to show you can do it. These narrow tires don't make this the most fun. All right, narrowish hand grips, so the 15-inch wide. I still find it quite stable. I can ride one-handed without too much problem. Of course, you can't do that very well with the right hand off, because then you have no cruise control, so you need to have your finger on that throttle. It does have 5 different speed limits. Well, 4 speed limits and 1 where it's unlimited. I have this in the unlimited speed setting. Hear that little kick in about right here? So this is going to give us a good top speed run. This is very flat right in here. Very little wind except the wind I'm generating right now. This is about what I get this one up to with my weight of 175 pounds. I mean, to me, performance-wise, this scooter does a great job. From an acceleration standpoint, as I'll put on the screen, this is one of the better performing scooters I've tested of a single motor scooter. I think it benefits from some of the lightweight. It's I weighed this at 29 pounds, which is a little bit above what E-TWOW says it should be of 27 pounds. That's just my measurement. Braking performance even with the electronic brake, I'm going to hit it right now. It's quite good. And I'll show on the screen electronic versus the drum brake. And with the drum brake, it was one of the best braking scooters from 15 feet I've tested to date. I mean, within a tenth of a foot of being the best. So really impressive for, again, the size of the scooter. And then moving on to the hill climb, as I'll put in that video right here. Yeah, for hill climb, right at the top of the heap of scooter performance. Now we just came off the smooth path, and you'll see the suspension does a very good job taking out most of the bumps in the road. But these minor things like this, the hard tires just transmit the minor vibrations through. So if you're doing a lot of kind of bumpier pavement riding, you feel that for sure. More as a vibration-y feeling. Like I said, it absorbs the larger bumps, but you can kind of hear some of that. I'll hit this bump here. You can hear it. So as far as range testing, I did one range test in kind of what I would call a commute speed, like 15 to 20 miles per hour most of the time, and I just got a little under 22 miles. And I was really impressed with that. I didn't really expect the 504 watt-hour battery to give me that much, but it did really well. I mean, I think from a range to weight ratio, you are getting a lot out of this scooter. You might have been able to tell there, I just kicked off from that stop sign. I like kicking off. It's one of the things I like about the E-TWOW scooters. The deck height's 5 inches with 3 inches of clearance, and it just allows you to do exactly that. You can kick off, you can kick when you need a little assistance up a hill. To me, it's a little more engaging riding experience than some of the kind of mega scooters. So I really am a fan of these ultra portable, lightweight scooters. And I'm gonna pull over here in the shade for a second and show you a few things real quick. So one of the things they also changed on the 2020 GT is they lengthened the deck. So it's still 5 3/4 inches wide, but it's 20 inches long. And hopefully you can kind of see here, I wear a size 10 shoe. And kind of, I'll put my foot at the back. You know, you still have to, it's pretty narrow for going side to side. You do get some room to change your foot position, so that's mostly a front to back. I think, you know, it helps out with the range a little bit if you have more deck width, just for more positions. The other thing I failed to mention on the stem is there's a little safety latch here you pull out. So right now, this is prevented from collapsing. And I like that. It's very simple and easy to use, just a little pull and push. I'm gonna leave that on the rest of this ride. And I'm gonna go full throttle. And I'm hoping you're gonna be able to sort of hear the motor, and what I'm thinking you're gonna hear is not a lot. It's really quiet. So right there, you probably heard that little grindy sound. That's what I was referring to, where it kicks up into what feels like another gear. It's really a cool feeling. It seems like it's really where the speed is separated from the lower model of the Booster S Plus. But probably from this angle, you're probably also getting this difference where we get a smooth section and then we hit some paths. Right here, I'm going to demonstrate. There's enough suspension that I can go up on a sidewalk like this without any problems, even though the minor vibrations really transmit through. All right, we're back here, and you can see we've only went a little under 3 miles, and we've dropped down to, and 3 miles here, a little under on the GPS, to 90%. So the battery indicator is really in 10% increments, even though it kind of would lead you to believe it's finer. This little sensor here is for when you put the lights into auto mode. And I always keep forgetting how to put it. I never have it in auto mode, but that will actually turn your lights on automatically. I probably wouldn't use that a whole lot. And you probably noticed as we just turned around there, the handlebars do not go all the way to 90 degrees. To the left, they go about 85, I measured it, and to the right, about 65. So, you know, just something to be aware of. This mechanism is quite robust down there. To fold it, it's actually pretty easy. You just got to get that pulled down, and then further, well, I can't do it because I got that locking pin in place, don't I? Well, anyway, you do that, and it's pretty easy, and when it pops in, it's got a real solid sound. I guess I might as well demonstrate that. You have to get enough of your foot on it. See, there it came out pretty easily. Then you hook it down in the fender. You can leave the handlebars extended or not. And just, you can hear how solidly and easily that locks into place. All right, we're going to continue this range test. I'm trying to do this range test at more or less as high a speed as I can maintain safely with this scooter. And my inkling is we're going to be somewhere in the 15-mile range, 10 to 15-mile range, trying to maintain this kind of speed. I find myself mostly using the electronic brake because it's quite strong, and you know, in a lot of ways, because I use that so much exclusively, I don't remember a lot of times to use the handbrake. Just as the Booster S Plus has that rear fender does work as a friction brake. I'm gonna hit that right now, and you will see it does not turn off the throttle. So to me, that really eliminates it from really being able to be called an emergency brake. I kind of really think of it as more a piece of the folding mechanism versus a brake. I find personally, even though I'm going to ride pretty good distance today, the scooter becomes not nearly as comfortable to ride after, you know, something on the order of 10 miles to me. That's when it starts to become a bit tiring, just with a little bit of limitations on foot positions. I find this a pretty engaging scooter. Like it kind of wants you to, I don't know, I find myself weaving a little bit. It's really, really intuitive. The low deck height gives you a lot of stability. All right, so Jim checking back in. I have covered a little 14.5 miles. One thing I forgot to mention, of course, is the cost of this scooter, which is $1,049. So pretty expensive, especially when you you look at the model below this is, you know, nearly half the price. I'll be comparing the two scooters so you can see, you know, how performance-wise they compare. But, you know, if you want that extra top speed, and you get some goodies on here. You get this drum brake, which really increases braking performance. A little bit more long distance potential with the deck size, but then you lose the cruise control. Now the thumb position of the throttle is not too bad, so I'm not really feeling a lot of fatigue in my thumb, but you know, that's variable on the person. All right, well, let's see what we get. So you get a noticeable decrease in acceleration. And I'm not quite getting that little burst at 17 miles per hour that was getting before. It looks like you know, the drop is pretty significant actually, which, you know, that's not surprising. We're probably closing in on 20 miles per hour on the GPS, and maybe a little bit over. Still pretty good. I don't think it's anything to really complain about. Say you're on the, you know, some scooters I will try to keep it charged more frequently just because the dip in performance is so significant. So just for calibration here, the screen says between 22.3 and 22.5 miles per hour. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. It looks like right now it just popped up to 22.8, so somewhere in that range. The visibility of the screen is really poor. You can only see pretty much in this direct sunlight, even with my glasses off, the speed. Everything else is pretty much not readable. All right, here we are, basically the final check-in. We got 20% down on the battery. Odometer says 20.8 miles, so quite a bit optimistic. I got 17.8 on the GPS, which feels a little more realistic to me. Here's a nice view of the American River from the little bike bridge. Hopefully this look of the scooter helped you out, seeing me ride it. Get an idea of pretty happy with the range, basically at the highest speed of almost 18 miles. I'll put the actual like recharge stats and that kind of stuff on the screen with a little graph of the route. But one more look at it here. I mean, for the size of the scooter, you're really getting a lot of performance. I mean, the performance is really on par with much larger scooters and definitely much heavier scooters and less portable scooters. There'll be timestamps and all the details and specs and a little summary of my testing on this scooter down in the description. Feel free to drop a comment, let me know if you like it. Subscribe would be great. Helps out the channel, and we'll see you again next time. And like I said, I'll do a comparison also with this and the Booster S Plus. See you then.
Catch the wave, feel the